Hi everyone, welcome into my YouTube channel. I hope you have a good day first. Yeah, actually I want to make a video about, you know, things that I have learned, sorry, and I hope it will be something that will actually help someone out there. It's not that I want to judge or give like I am the best or learning, it's just sharing experiences that I've learned and that have made me, help me grow, mature in a way I actually see life, used to see life. If you look in my video channel, if you look in my old videos, obviously I didn't know how to express myself better, but sometimes I have so many things I want to share with you that because of sometimes my lack of words to explain it the way it is can make it difficult for me to explain. But anyway, I was talking about being young and being separated from my parents very early in my age. Not separated because people made it. In some way, yes, they did, but in some other way, they didn't. But it was a decision that my parents took at the time that they thought was best for me at the time, okay? Because I say in that videos, my father was involved into a cause that was actually for other people, for the welfare and well-being of other people at that time, and when he was alive. So I was very young, I was a child. I didn't know much, not only like I come from a family where everything is together, everything is secure together. And that is very important. Like if I have a family, like for me, it's important for me to have my family. Like that's what I knew. I didn't have many friends at the time. It was mostly about family usually, and yeah, and then all of a sudden I was completely disconnected, completely cut from that environment. So it was cousins, brothers, sisters. That was all. That was about family only. And then my question was like, oh, why on earth I should be living away from you, my parents? And it was something they couldn't explain, because when you are a child, you can not understand everything. Even if they could have explained to me, it wouldn't go through my mind. But what I want to say, also, there's always the bad and the good side of any situation, and I will tell you the bad side according to how I live it. Okay, my parents dropped me in another country, and I've been moved, to be honest, from places to places, city to another, and to study. Not only study because I was in school, high school years. And that is something I want to share with you. It's like, if you can have your kids with you, for me, it's like, do the best to have your kids with you, because it's important, because at some point where kids are moving from place to others, and it's not something that is very pleasant. It's an experience that has been very difficult on me, to be honest. I always have to adapt to cope with the difference. Like, you go to a new school, you have to learn other new people. It was really stressful, and it was like unstable for me. It was at the same time uncomfortable, and teacher will always describe me as being absent in class, be like minded absent. I wasn't thinking like being there, because in my mind I was thinking, oh, why am I here? Why my parents who say they love me so much will put me in that situation? But what I really want to point here also is like, teachers sometimes do not do the job. Sometimes they just have the point. So they actually create their own opinion, and they assume things that they don't even ask why this child is kind of absent. Okay, so this is a big cat here. Where is it coming from? Anyway, well, okay, so I was like going through this situation, and I mean, it would be so good if teacher could understand the situation, but they were always fighting. Most like two of them were writing like I was absent, and then one day one of them called my brother, and he said, I need to talk to you because my parents weren't here. Obviously it will be my brother. And they talk and they say, you know, your sister, she's always absent in class, and he really frustrated me a lot. But anyway, I've learned something from that situation. My parents couldn't be there because later I realized that my dad was involved into political actions. That will be very difficult for us to be home when you come from a country where freedom of speech is difficult. You cannot speak freely, and sometimes you have some threat. And I actually witnesses many things. I actually witnessed many things happening. I cannot go to details, but I understood later in my years when I grew up, when I became older, that my dad was going through a lot, but he wasn't talking because he was trying to protect us. But at the same time, I was not happy because I wanted them to be with me, my parents, my mom. And my mom was actually always living alone back home when we are all out. So it was tough, but should I remain there? Should I stay here in my head and think like, oh, you know what, because I was left alone, I cannot be happy, I cannot. I could always just always thinking, you know what, I wasn't happy, so I will be unhappy all my life. No, because at some point I had to sit and see what was the good aspect of it. At some point you always have to think, okay, you know what, this is the situation. But I've learned something like for example back home in Africa, I mean in my country usually, and even some countries in Africa, people are, because you know the teacher are older than you, so people usually assume that a child is not right, because even if I was explaining myself, trying to justify to my teacher why I was living, what I was thinking like that, because it pained me so much to be alone and eating. I mean, it was very difficult. But they always assume back home that in my country or my continent that the elders or the older people are always right when it comes to children talking to the elders, or if you want to talk, which is not necessarily true, because sometimes the older can be wrong, and that is something very difficult, you know, for them to accept anyway. But anyway, what I want to say is I've learned something. Okay, I've learned that even if I went through the situation, I've learned that your country, my country, is not only the only country in the world. I've learned that my country wasn't the best country in the world because I went outside and lived with other people I didn't know. I learned I had to learn another culture. I had to learn I had to learn what a new culture, how people eat was different. And I've learned a lot. It made me grow in a sense that I understood that the world is not limited to my little world. I understood that it's not about me, it's not about my country only, it's about the world, which is way bigger than what I thought. And not judging other culture when it comes to like lifestyle, like eating and stuff like that. I've learned to be humble. I really learned to be humble. And it made me very humble to the point where when I came back home, because I had some another way to understand being a foreigner. And when I was a foreigner myself, I could have thought about it differently. So when I went back home, I wasn't harsh with a foreigner anymore because I was myself a foreigner in another country. So I was more compassionate, and I started knowing, get too close to them and know them better when they were back home. I understand when they were criticizing my country, I was more open to their critics, and I was like, yeah, I understand what you meant. It wasn't wrong, bad. I understand what you meant by your point and how you go through. So this is situation like that, and yeah, you learn.